Good morning, everyone, and happy Friday to you here from Chuck Ramsey, the Law Dog, and Jeremy Schroeder here on the Law Dog Sports, the Weekend Big Show. Why did I just call it the Law Dog Sports? That way you gave me that look.
The Law Dog Stores Power Hour.
Law Dog Sports. Yeah. It's the Weekend Big Show, and Jeremy and I are here with you, ready to talk sports. And Jeremy, this episode is titled "A Tradition Like No Other," which I know just turns the heartstrings on you. And so it is a tradition like no other because this is the weekend where most men of our genre or our demographic will spend a fair amount of time cropped on the couch watching dudes go out and do what we wish we were out doing.
Yeah, I'm looking around that golf course. I have a pretty good feeling that you and I would probably die from new allergens out there
Yeah, there's a
this
lot of
week.
blooms in Georgia, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. That area is awful. I went down there a few years ago. I won't say where, but I can work it into every story for the rest of my life.
Yeah, yeah. It don't they have humidity in like December? I mean,
It was September, and you can't stand under trees. I don't know what it is, but
oh my
it
God.
stings. And yeah, it's hot. All you do is sweat, and there are new exciting things out there that just want to kill you.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, and then plus the death I would die on the golf course, wouldn't
Oh,
match that. But
on my best day, I'd probably shoot a 200 on that course.
oh yeah, yeah. I mean, you were talking off the air before we got on here that Jordan Spieth was melting down. You said he carded a 9.
Yes.
Wow, that's Chuck Ramsey territory right there at the municipal. So don't know how a guy like that can recover.
I'm sure he'll go home and cry on his huge pillow stuffed with $100 bills.
His 3,000 Egyptian thread count pillow.
That's right. In his
Right.
$25 million rental house he's staying in Augusta.
Exactly. Well, it is Masters weekend, and Jeremy and I will kind of try to recap that for some things for you here today, as well as really a preview since we're recording pretty early in the day and the dramatics. But Tiger got out on the course yesterday, and how'd your favorite golfer do?
He did. He's hitting the ball well. He's hitting the ball really well. He's walking well, which is the biggest thing with him. His legs don't seem like they're bothering him. Um, he misread a lot of putts yesterday, left a lot of putts short. It seems like it's always the last two things that come in with him are the flat stick and the driver, but he's driving the ball really well.
Yeah.
If he
Well,
was if he was putting better, he'd be right up there, but he's just not.
the thing about it is he still commands the attention, and I know you and our friend Connard, who we'll talk about in a minute, he still commands attention, and it's still an electricity when he goes out to the tee box. It's real.
He's
You see it.
he's still the straw that stirs the drink.
Sure,
Yeah.
and he's what they need. Dan Narva checking in from Michigan says, "Mom and I are on the beautiful, cold, rainy. Mom and I are on from beautiful, cold, rainy northern Michigan." So I got to say, last night was a nice night once the wind died down. But uh, we were talking off the air. We didn't get much of a winter here in the Great Plains, and as you can hear in my voice, and I think you'll have your
I feel
incident.
like I'm talking through a wall of mucus.
Exactly. So allergens are kicked up and alive in Western Oklahoma and Central Oklahoma, but we will bear through, and we pledge to bring back Law Dog Sports and at least do commit to our Friday show. But so much going on in the world of sports this weekend, Jeremy, and it's Masters weekend as well. But first, I want to check in with a friend of mine who's a a big time podcaster and proponent for musclehead or meathead matches and strongman competition. She's Gal and co-worker at Right Radio. Val, you and your husband Elijah, who's a national champion at the Arnold Schwarzenegger event, you guys have a big event coming up here in Western Oklahoma.
Yes, so we do. Sorry, I headed outside because the service is really bad in there, so I hope you can still hear me.
Is that your barn, or is that are you out somewhere?
Well, I'm at the Weatherford Ag Barn, and I'm
Yeah, yeah.
completely surrounded by horses. So
So
it's
you guys picked the ultimate weekend to have the Pity the Fool, and we'll have you tell us more about that. But it's SWASU Rodeo weekend, so I'm sure there's like 14 dozen $100,000 horse trailers around you.
oh, it's yes. It like we pulled up and it was just they were everywhere. They were everywhere. So I had to make sure I put a flag out so none of the meatheads would get confused this morning on weigh-ins. They'd know where to go.
Well, and we may have John Matthews on later. I'm sure he'll have a comment about the traffic and the construction around there. But uh, let's get into some details about Pity the Fool. First off, tell us the background, because I'm gonna. I wanted to talk to you because you and I did some podcasting together as well. But your husband Elijah is really become a huge personality in the strongman competition. I mean, he's competing at the national level against world competition. Talk about what brought all this about.
So it originally started in his hometown, Thomas. They always did a 5K to raise money for different things around the town or for the school. And I was a runner. He was a meathead. He's like, I don't like cardio, but I still want to be a part of helping the town be better and help raise money. So he offered the city a idea to do a meathead match, which was essentially an amateur strongman competition back in 2018.
Yeah.
And I think we had like 12 competitors, yours truly included, because I support the hubs. And it was just everybody met up at the park to see who was the strongest. And then it was in 2020 that he decided to compete in an actual sanctioned meet and podiumed, even being thrown into some super heavies. He was a heavyweight at the time and decided, you know what, I think I want to start doing this. So he has not, I think there's only been one competition he's been in that he's not podiumed since he
Yeah.
started.
Yeah.
And then he
Massive
became
individual, that's for sure.
yeah. So then he became sanctioned with the United States Strongman. And this weekend we have around 70 competitors coming to
Wow.
try their shot at nationals.
So I went to your event 2 years ago. I didn't compete, just to clarify.
Oh,
Your event two
No,
years
Chuck?
ago. I viewed your event 2 years ago in Thomas, and you had then maybe 2 dozen competitors. I didn't see that much. So this is obviously something that has taken off.
well, yes. And once you become sanctioned, you have those athletes that are looking out on that, it's Iron Podium where you can find different meets where you want to get qualified for USS. And so once you become sanctioned, then you're sought after. People want to find them in their area and be able to get that ticket to nationals.
Cool. So once you get sanctioned and you become big time, you move it out of Thomas. Is that what you're telling me?
Well, no, okay. Put me in a
Slide into
tricky
Weatherford.
situation here.
No, go ahead.
We moved it to Weatherford only because of location of so many different athletes coming. Some of them are flying in, some
Sure.
are driving in, and Weatherford made more sense. Sorry, Thomas. It was closer to I-40.
Well, and also you never know what the weather's going to be like from week to week, and you have to schedule that out. Plus, you're using the ag barn there at the SWASU rodeo complex or expo center. So that's got to be a big opportunistic thing for you guys. So
It
uh,
is. Last year we used the foosball
yeah,
building.
the I call it the Mick. It's named
Okay.
Mayor Mike Brown, and it's that indoor soccer food
Yes.
facility. Yeah.
We had to put down over, I don't even remember how many mats to make sure we didn't mess up that floor.
Oh
But
yeah.
this one's a concrete floor. We can't
Oh,
mess that
sweet.
up doing the stone over bar and all the things that we're going to be doing this weekend.
Well, the one I attended, I was most astounded by the heavy sack throws with dudes throwing 50-pound sacks like 20 foot in the air. Because you're talking about full body workout. And Jeremy Schroeder, my partner, he does that on a regular basis as well.
Okay.
He uses
Oh, no.
he uses Dodge transmissions. So but no,
Too old for that.
we're gonna get Jeremy. We're gonna get Jeremy competing because I think he could come in and throw his weight around, so to speak. Uh, he's a workout buff. But so, anyways, real quick, Val, tell me the events that people are going to be involved and people that watch this podcast and then we'll also talk about where people can kind of follow what's going on out there.
Okay, so I apologize because I don't want to miss an event. So let me grab my sheet really quick.
Give us the roundabout. That's fine.
Argosy Stoneover Bar.
Yeah, we're losing you in the middle.
Walk,
we're losing you in the metal building. Yeah,
I think we lost her.
Yeah, you'll have to go outside. But anyway, so Pity the Fool is going on in Weatherford tomorrow morning, I believe it is, and you'll have to go back outside, Val. That metal building's just playing hell with your cell reception. So, anyways, she will probably make her way back outside, and so. Anyways, that's the problem with metal buildings is they can really damage cell reception. Val, we got you back. I think that metal building's just really raining hell on the cell reception.
Sorry, I was looking for my list, but I know that there's going to be a deadlift, and there's also going to be an axle overhead press. There's going to be a Denny walk. Denny walk it's named after a guy named Denny, I guess. I'm not sure. But it is like 2 rods that'll be full of weights. Yeah. And you're going to have a ring in each hand. One side's going to be heavier than the other.
Oh.
And you've got to walk so far with them feeling like they're crushing your ankles. I mean, it's the true bringing in the groceries, but you can't hold them up tight. You've got to bring them down low. So, and then a yoke walk as well, and a Stoneover bar. But I encourage anyone who has, anything going on tomorrow to stop by if they're coming through Weatherford. $10 to get in the door. Kids 12 and under are free. And it's a good time if you've never seen anything like this. Yeah. It's amateur strongman. So you're going to see, it's not the 7 foot tall, 400-pound pros. These are your average Joes that train all year round to be a part of something like this. And we have the novice classes. So you'll be able to see what it looks like to come into this sport brand new. So I highly encourage it, and ironpodium.com to also get more details where a meet is close to you.
Ironpodium.com. Now, Elijah, your husband, is not the only family member you have that competes. Is that correct?
No, he is one of 5 boys. Well, five kids total, and 4 of those are boys, and all of them compete.
Now, that's not where I was going with that, and I think you know this.
Oh, what do you mean?
Your mother.
Oh, yes, my mom.
You forgot about your mom.
Sorry, Mom. She won first place in the Masters division. My mom is 65 years old and won first place in the women's Masters division.
Jeremy, when I went 2 years ago, her mom was out there tossing those sacks 12 feet up.
Oh, my gosh.
I mean, I was holy cow.
So I'm watching a video of this Denny Stone walk, the world record from 2022.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Wow.
Yeah. So after this Pity the Fool, what do you and Elijah have going? And then talk about real quick, you're got some podcasting going on about the meathead stuff, right?
So, okay. Yes and no. So what's after this is Elijah gets ready for the official Strong Games. Or no, I'm not saying that right. It's OSG. Everything's always an acronym when it comes to meatheads. It just makes it easier. But it's OSG, and it's going to be in Texas, and he's actually competing as a super heavy official Strongman Games. I knew it'd come to me. Official Strongman Games, and he is getting ready for that in August, I believe, is what he's getting ready for. He actually just got done being a 2-time Arnold World Champ.
That's right.
There's no break. Unless it's injured, there's no break at our house. It's constant training, but he's getting ready for that.
Let's not duplicate last summer. How about that?
Let's not. Almost dying. I mean, that's a huge. He did literally almost die and then still podiumed at the Arnold. I mean, I'm talking. Yeah.
That's some fight. So obviously very proud. And he's a good dude too. Good with woodwork as well. And then also I would be remiss. There's so much to cover. Jeremy, her husband Elijah, builds his own equipment. He's building those big steel tubes that people lift, with the handles built in and stuff. So
does he weld?
Yeah, well,
yes.
Obviously
all of that stuff. So
he was a pipeline welder for 15 years. And anytime he sees an implement that he's like, I think I can make that, he just goes and buys it and builds it himself. And People love his equipment. You could, if a tornado's coming, just hang on to his equipment. You're not going anywhere.
Y'all's barn is where I'm going. So, anyways, Val, it's good to hear from you. And Pity the Fool starts tomorrow morning. What time did you say?
Doors open at 8. 9 o'clock is rules meeting. Weights start moving at 10.
Sweet. Well, we may try to slide. I may try to slide by there and catch some of that myself, if I can get free admission. I'm not paying $10 to come.
Okay.
Get
All
you
right,
a press pass, Chuck.
That's rude.
Take care of yourself. Tell Elijah I said hello, and we'll talk to you real soon.
All right. Bye. Thanks, guys.
Val Yoder there. Val the gal, my former coworker at Right Radio. And Pity the Fool going on at the Expo Center, the Ag Expo Center in Weatherford tomorrow morning. So 10 o'clock sounds like if you're wanting to view, will be the time to get out there for that. So I'm telling you, Jeremy, I know you are a workout aficionado, and you'd probably be pretty impressed by some of the, because Elijah takes his equipment up to the local gym here in Thomas.
Yes.
And is there working with it. So I know that would probably scratch you where you're itch. So Pity the Fool going on ironpodium.com. And we thank Val Yoder for stopping by. So back to real sports, not just being the king of working out.
Oh no, that strongman stuff is, I mean, that is awesome. Get on YouTube and watch some of that stuff. It's or if you remember back in the day watching the World's Strongest Man.
Ken Patera.
Yeah. Magnus for Magnuson.
Mm-hmm.
There's always some dude from Iceland named Magnus that was going to win
it never fails. So, but yeah, I tried to throw my best Kenny Powers out there when he told that principal, he's like, I play real sports. I'm not trying to work out.
Yeah, I'm not trying to be good at exercise.
Yeah. But no, those guys are competitive, and that guy has really done well at the biggest event really of all of them, at the Arnold Schwarzenegger Classic. So anyways, but on to some sports going on, and we would be remiss, Jeremy, before we get into it, what's going on at Augusta? I have to over my shoulder.
The second round is, well, the first round's still going. Second round, Tiger just teed off on one for the start of the second round.
So they'll figure out the cut today. I always root for Danny Willett. He's one of those guys that I kind of root for. But
Danny Willett.
DeChambeau.
What about Nikolai Hagard?
Yeah. Is that Hagard or Hogard?
Is that J? Does that J do anything? Is it silent?
It's one of those O's with the Sammy Hagar line through it. So no.
That's right. I don't even know what that is.
Yeah. So Masters action going on. Jeremy is watching with bated breath to see if Tiger can make the cut today. And so earlier in the week, on the heels, really interrupting the national title game as UConn wins their second national title in a row. And, I got to say, I'm just going to throw this out there. Bobby Hurley was just
Danny Hurley.
Well, I'm getting there. I know who.
Okay. Okay.
Bobby Hurley was awful when he was at Duke. I hated him. I hated Duke and I hated him. So,
sure.
Or by transitive properties, I hate Dan Hurley too. But I think he's a bit psychotic. But obviously, he's come in and been able to do things at UConn to obviously be extremely successful in the college game. And if I'm a college university athletic director and president, that's all I care about. I don't care how many NBA draft picks you're bringing in, unless we're pulling in major donations from them. I don't know.
UConn's got to have a decent NIL game. They don't have anything else. But yeah, college
money.
Yeah, right. College basketball is so difficult to sustain. Not just win 2 titles in a row in this day and age, but sustain having a really good team for continuity. Just because people are, if it's a blue blood or if it's a successful program, guys are going to come in, play that 1 year, go to the NBA.
Yeah. Well, and therefore, and I've said this all along, go back to the drafting out of high school.
Sure.
For Jermaine O'Neal. I mean,
that's fine. Make them stay for 2 years, draft out of high school. It doesn't. If they're good enough to play in the NBA, they're only going to be there for 1 year anyways. Like Bronny. Anyways,
I see what you did there. So, yeah, and and that's the thing is like we're seeing it in college. We've seen it in college football the last 3 seasons, ever since the pandemic, with 28-year-old dudes still in college playing football. They're going to have an advantage over 18 and 19-year-old kids.
There's a kid at Miami, he's, got 3 kids and a mortgage. What he got his 9th season of eligibility
from Oregon or something.
Yeah.
He's in his 9th season and he's going to play. And it's like when you see those go across the Twitter feed, obviously there's detractors and then there's supporters, I guess. But I mean, that is a long time to kind of be in a state of suspended. Hate to say adolescence, but I mean, you're a college student. I mean, most people that go to college 9 years are doctors. So
sure, or at least to have a master's degree to show for it. He's probably got a degree in general studies, and he's made some pretty good cash on the NIL front. And he's going to slide right into selling insurance or a retirement home after he's done playing.
Yeah, but that's where the college game is going, and it's all boils down to me as and here's the funny thing. I've always used this as a contention point. I've always said a kid who's a 5-star defensive tackle coming out of high school versus a kid who is a high prospect pitcher, with a 94 mile an hour cut ball. One gets to go work on his athletic trade. The other has to go pretend to be a student. And I've always used that, but now college baseball is kind of, I mean, you're not seeing that. I mean, a lot of dudes are getting drafted now higher out of college. So it's maybe sick on that end.
The thing about the NFL and college football dichotomy, I guess is a good word for it.
There you go.
Is college football does everything for the NFL.
Yeah,
you look at these programs, their facilities, their ability to develop kids' bodies, get them ready for that level. What's the NFL do for college football? Nothing at all. It holds them to some sort of standard where they can't use the entire month of December to play football games.
Yeah,
that's why we didn't have a decent playoff for so long. It's wild.
Yeah,
how.
And before, go ahead.
You look at the millions and billions that go into a college football program, and then they go to the NFL, and you've got facilities that aren't as good as what they're used to playing at in college, and some of these guys are not. They're not going to make that kind of money in the NFL. They may have a cup of coffee and then be out the door.
Yeah,
I can see why guys want to stay as long as they possibly can.
Well, yeah, especially now, think about it. If you're a projected 3rd or 4th rounder at the University of Texas, let's say offensive lineman, because we know
they're a pretty high draft pick for the University of Texas.
They've got a couple
in Austin
coming up, but but offensive line, they've been really weak in that area. But think about it, you're guaranteed $50K a year just off of that one NIL, much less whoever's doling out a Lambo to. Well, I guess linemen might not fit in a Lambo, but what I'm getting at. I mean, you would weigh heavily on whether or not you want to make that jump and put up with the grind of of the NFL, because I've heard so many guys who were extremely talented in college say that the NFL is just a totally different animal, that you're basically,
it's a job.
It is a job. Now,
that is your career.
I think personally, the college experience now that you're making money should definitely be more of a job, but I've just never been a big proponent of the whole, classroom skills thing being an element of whether or not you get to play football or not, because it has nothing to do with what you guys are out doing on a Saturday to bring in 100,000 people to the stadium.
I know. I don't like, and I get where you're coming at, and I agree to a certain extent, but I also don't like to think of these kids that aren't going to play at the next level getting nothing out of it but a little bit of cash.
Well, okay, so
you see what I'm saying? As far as you ain't going to play school, Cardale.
be
Yeah,
preparing them for something. I mean, you can lead a horse to water, you can't force it to drink, but you can at
sure.
least give them the guideposts, I guess you could say, to say, okay, this is what you're able to do now. This is what you may be able to do at 40. What are you going to do to have a quality life other than glob on to boosters that
Show up and sign autographs for a little
there
bit of
you go.
cash every once in a while.
Yeah. So anyways, but that's kind of where I get at. But I guess our wormhole that we delved off into was the fact that Dan Hurley. Go ahead.
So we did mention the University of Texas at Austin.
Yeah.
What does okay, first off, what does the DUI that Montez Sweat just rang up, what does that do to his draft stock? And side note to that question, piggyback onto it, why are these kids out playing Fast and Furious? What
Boy,
is going on?
that is some silliness that just is because you much less under the influence of alcohol, which I mean that's a slippery slope because there was a time in my life where I was foolish and probably there, the old saying there, but for the grace of God. But you're also a high profile person, and
Yeah.
you're just about to make the biggest step. I think Sweat was predicted late first round, early
Yes, he
second.
was. Mid to late first,
Yeah,
early to mid second. He was going to be a day one, day two guy.
sure. I don't know. What obviously now what he's going to have, I think, is he's going to have the excess scrutiny on him as a camp attendee. You know,
Mm-hmm.
teams are going to look at it, and it may cause people to take a pass on him. I don't know. I mean,
Yeah, you know
but
what?
he's 340 pounds, I think, and plays in the center of the line. I mean, that's a pretty coveted position in the NFL. And if
Look what a positive test for marijuana did to Warren Sapp.
oh yeah, yeah,
I mean, he didn't
different,
drop out of the first round because he was that kind of talent, but he did drop
yeah. Well, I mean, where did Kansas City draft the cheetah?
third round.
Third round. So, that's a guy who, if he keeps his act straight, probably
Here's a guy.
here's a you just went full Collinsworth on me. But no, I mean, that's a guy who, had he played his entire career at OSU, not been kicked off the team and this and that, probably was looking at no worse than a second round. I mean, just
He
the
probably would
speed
have been a
alone.
second round guy
Yeah. But so,
because he wasn't very polished in college, and he was kind of a tweener, running back, slot guy,
yeah.
return.
Well, and kudos to him and Debo Samuel for turning those into coveted positions. Um, but anyways, back on Dan Hurley. Before you derailed me on Vontez Sweat. Is it Devontae or
Dan Hurley,
yeah, Dan Hurley. Uh,
Montez,
college basketball, obviously Dan Hurley.
Montez,
Yeah, Montez. Dan Hurley would be the antithesis of one Coach John Calipari. Calipari.
Calipari.
Calipari. So when you look at it, and Dan Narva commented earlier, sorry. He commented on metal buildings. So, anyways, but Dan Hurley would be the antithesis of John Calipari. And so now, and here's the award I'll give to John Calipari. He has one national title in his time now. He lost that one in '08 to Self when he was at Memphis, right? With
Yes, I believe that's correct.
who's the kid? Derrick Rose was on that team for Memphis, I believe.
Yes.
So
Derrick Rose
Calipari
and
has one title. We were talking about it off the air. That was in 2012 with Kentucky, Anthony Davis and Michael Kidd Gilchrist and some guys. But they've had so much talent since then, and he's done absolutely nothing with it. They had the one team that was undefeated going into the Final Four, and Wisconsin toppled them. So, Jeremy, the question I ask is this. regardless of whatever he's going to do at Arkansas and overstimulating our good friend Connard, you're at a blue blood. What's the bare minimum you have to do every season in the NCAA tournament? Because it's a one and done. Freaky things can happen. Basketball is a sport where the upsets can truly come out of nowhere. We see it every year. But what's a guy like Cal who's bringing in that much talent? What's the bare minimum? Is it you better make the Elite Eight every season, or is it what is
Sweet 16? Sweet 16.
16?
You've got to make the Sweet 16 with as much money as is in that program and the amount of talent he brings in. I think the problem with Cal, maybe he's just not a great X's and O's coach, and it gets taken advantage of when his talent comes back to the mean.
Yeah. Well, and that one title they won, I was looking at it. They did have 4 first-round picks on that team. Ed Gilchrist, Anthony Davis, Terrence Jones, drafted number 18 by the Houston Rockets, and Marquise Teague, drafted 29th by the Chicago Bulls. The other 2 players in the rotation or 2 players were drafted in the second round as well. But so that was their one national title team. And the thing about it is does college basketball need to reset their blue blood list?
You think Kentucky's not a blue blood anymore because Cal left?
No,
I think Kentucky may have been looking to move on from him anyways.
Well, yeah, that's and
the buyout was just too much.
I was going to say the award that I would give Calipari is the read the room guy. I mean, he picked up on the fact that my time and my luster here is tarnished.
Yeah, because normally because there were a few days in there where it was just speculation. Usually, if that happens, if a guy is wanted, here comes the extension, a la Mike Gundy.
Oh yeah, we've seen that a lot. But he obviously read the room, could tell that administration. And then I saw a deal last night that said that the Kentucky AD has been dropping hints to the media for years that they would like to move on. And so, you get what you get.
You think it went down like George Steinbrenner's office? He's on the phone with Tyson Chicken CEO, and they work out a trade for Calipari for a fermented chicken drink and chicken dogs.
It's funny. Subconsciously, that's exactly where I was going to go, because I was going to say, do you think Coach Cal gets some sort of secret Tyson protein drink that he gets a lifetime supply of? Oh, that's such a great one. Because in that one, the guy kept doing the head bob.
Yes. That was the one where George finds the suitcase. All the preppy clothes in it and starts dating the girl. And it was
he's playing the tourist. Yeah, yes. He's playing the tourist. Yeah. And she's like, I don't think you can handle it in New York. So yeah. So Dan Hurley wins his second straight title. UConn is a blue blood. I don't care what anybody says. Calhoun got them to blue blood status. They have been a factor in college basketball for 40 years.
How many titles did Calhoun win there? 2, 3?
2, I think.
2. And then Kevin Ollie won 1. They've got 6.
And Hurley's got 2, so Cal won 3.
Okay, Cal won 3, and then Kevin Ollie won the 1, and then yeah, I can see that. 6 titles in a 40-year span.
Who's done more?
Nobody.
Yeah, Duke doesn't have that many in that time.
No, Kentucky doesn't.
And Kentucky, looking at their national title list, Jeremy. Let me go back to that. I mean, my philosophy on championships and integration. I don't count them. But if you want to
count for Texas Western
in 49, I don't count it. You
don't count any of Adolph Rupp's titles.
Count Bud Wilkinson's.
Wow. Not even. Wasn't Prentice Scott on a team that won one?
No, I don't. I think he came. I'd have to look that up. I don't. That was that hood wearing Daryl Royal.
Daryl Royal.
No, but that's kind of my philosophy. Is like, oh, Craig, okay, great, hang the banners. But Kentucky has championships in 48, 49, 51, 58. So don't know that. I know the SEC was not integrated or Kentucky was not integrated in those.
What year was Texas Western? Because that was the first
I think
team that
that
really
was
did it.
66.
Yeah, it had to be in the 60s.
Yeah, it was 66. And Oklahoman, Don Haskins, plays 5 African-American starters and wins the title when they were Texas Western at the time.
Mm-hmm.
But then national title in 78, that would have been Joe B. Hall, I think. Maybe.
At Kentucky?
Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't Eddie.
No, it was not Eddie. I think that was Joe B. Hall. Eddie gets the program almost shut down.
Yeah.
He and Eric Manuel. And then in 96 and 98, Kentucky wins titles. I think 96 was Patino and 98 was Bibby. No, not Bibby. Tubby Smith.
Oh, Tubby, yeah.
And then 2012 with Cal. So, you're looking at 3 titles in the last 30 years while UConn's running 6. So, who's your blue blood?
Well, you can always add. It's hard to add a blue blood to the list.
No, it's not. You win a bunch of titles in a 30-year span of time. You're a blue blood in my book.
Would you consider Indiana a blue blood these days?
No,
they haven't done crap in a decade.
Anything? What, 87?
Yeah,
80. The Keith Smart baseline. Which
how did Kelvin do there? He was only there for a couple of years.
Mid.
Yeah, I think a lot of that was his recruiting practices got him in trouble. Yeah, which are totally kosher now.
Oh yeah. Kelvin was ahead of his time. Let's see. Okay, Dan Narva kicking in. Might be top of the blue bloods now, 6 and 25 years. Yes. And Joe B knocked out Sparty in 78. Goose Gibbons.
Michigan State.
Yeah.
Is on that list.
To me, a lot of times also is the coaching consistency. The blue blood. I mean, Izzo has been at Michigan State forever.
Yes, he has.
Before Duke lost Coach K, he was there forever. I mean, I don't know.
Indiana had
UCLA
Big Bob for a while.
They won a bunch of titles with John Wooden.
Yeah, they've made deep tournament runs, but they haven't won a title in so long.
The O'Bannon brothers in 94, 95.
I want to say they've made a Final Four or 2 in the last 20 years, but
how far did they get with Russ and them? Kevin Love.
Kevin Love.
All right, so college basketball wraps up and the blue blood talk continues, but we're going to end it here. Jeremy, where do you want to go next? We can talk NBA or mock draft. I have a preference, but I'll let you decide.
If you want to talk mock draft, let's talk mock draft. I know you don't want to talk about the Spurs showing against the Thunder the other night.
Yeah, that was some truly god awful basketball. I didn't watch it, but I saw the score, saw some highlights, and
Okay, so UCLA basketball Final Fours 95, 2006, 07, 08, and 21.
So they have a 3-year run of Final Fours.
Yes,
that would have had to have been Russ and Kevin Love.
Yeah, but they won a ton of titles starting in the 60s. So if you by your standard, as far as integration goes, UCLA is a blue blood, even though they haven't won one since 95.
And John Wooden recruited players of color. So I got no problem.
Who else in there?
But Jamal Wilkes, my favorite player of all time, besides George Gervin. But so
nice.
UCLA. But here's the thing: the blue blood list should be fluid. You can't be Indiana and still be saying, "Oh, we're a blue blood." You haven't done anything in 40 years.
No
title in 40 years, and you were at the end of your run when you won that one.
Yeah, especially in basketball, not so much in football because the same teams are going to win it pretty much every season with your odd LSU title run. and Florida.
Yeah.
I wouldn't consider Florida or Miami Blue Bloods, but that's just me.
Florida won 2 in a row in the mid 2000s. So, I mean,
Indiana has not made a Final Four since 2002.
wow, who was on that team?
I do not know.
02 was when OU went to the Final Four, isn't it? That was the Hollis Price year.
Yeah.
I know in 03 or was no 02 was the was 02 the Carmelo Anthony Syracuse year?
It might have been. What the heck?
I know 1 year Hollis Price. Hey, no, it was 02 because who was the big kid that had the nice baseline jumper for OU?
Ace McGee.
Yeah, McGee. That was 02, I think.
I always thought he was going to do something.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
Marty Wandry checking in from down at Clinton Liquor. I got to see Marty last night at the Tornado Bowl in Clinton for Custer County Conflict Soccer. Thanks, Marty, for checking in. And might have to make a trip to Clinton Liquor to stock up on the old Yingling flight. I might have to become one of those guys.
It's not bad. It's not bad if you haven't had it. They have a Bach now.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. If you like a
Steiner
nice Bach.
A Bach.
Well, it's a Yingling Bach.
Yingling Bach. That just sounds weird. I'll tell you off the air sometime a joke I played on Marty one time when I walked into his bar, walked into his liquor store. So I don't know if it'd be apropos for on the broadcast, but it'll be funny. So Marty Wandry checking in. Dan Narva brought up a good point there, Jeremy, on the comment line. Blue Bloods, I think, should earn that over more than one tenure. So by that, by that transitive property, UConn is definitely a blue blood.
Sure. They've also been excellent at selecting head coaches.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Now, Ollie only got 2 years there, right?
Yeah, he won a national title, and they're like, yeah.
1 out, 2 out. So, all right. So, enough on college basketball. It's wrapped up. Congratulations to UConn. Go do it again, whatever. But the NFL draft is in 2 weeks, and obviously Caleb Williams is the consensus number 1 pick that I'm seeing. He's kind of said what he's needed to say to make Chicago believe that he actually wants to come there and play. Where I'm going with this, Jeremy, are the next picks and the next quarterback picks. And I'm just going to
Daniels
out there. Huh?
Daniels.
Yeah, Jaden Daniels. He's a receiver. J.J. McCarthy on the CBS mock draft is moved up to pick number 4.
I don't know about that.
If he's the 4th pick in the NFL draft, why wasn't Stetson Bennett in the first round last year?
Wow. Stetson Bennett has a noodle for an arm.
I think,
and he's 5'9". I don't know.
6
measurables.
Yeah, I guess so.
Measurables.
I think it's
McCarthy's got a cannon, but
he does.
Yeah, McCarthy. Yes, he has a very good arm. But I don't know. I don't know about drafting Big Ten quarterbacks. I mean, do you?
Dan.
Huh?
Don't listen, Dan.
I'm sorry, Dan, but who's the last great? I mean, okay, so the kid at CJ Stroud's really good.
Yeah.
He's the first the true Ohio State quarterback to really do anything, which is crazy. Man, I don't know about McCarthy. He wasn't asked to do a lot at Michigan.
No.
Hand the ball off and get out of the way. Make a throw every once in a while.
Maybe that's the NFL formula. Maybe that works for teams.
If he's a good pocket guy and he can stay on schedule and not run around and do anything stupid with the football, yeah, he'll be fine. If he goes a good situation.
What's the probability that Caleb Williams launches one into the stratosphere and it gets kind of swirled by the winds there at Soldier Field?
Man, hey, Buffalo's had really good quarterbacks, right?
Yeah.
I don't buy this win thing anymore. Baker had a couple good years in Cleveland, which is right on the lake.
Yeah, I was being facetious about
Yeah, they just have never drafted quarterbacks well, and I don't know that Caleb Williams has the mental makeup to deal with it.
Yeah, it's gonna be a situation where I look at it and it's funny, and I'm only basing this off of a CBS mock draft that I'm looking at, but wasn't this the draft that like the first 8 picks were supposed to be, 2/3 quarterbacks or something?
Well, that was when Spencer Rattler was good.
Wow. Well, I mean, I'm not a big. I don't know what Drake May. Drake May just seems like he's going to be another,
Mitch Trubisky,
Mitch Trubisky or Daniel Jones.
North Carolina quarterback.
Yeah, Duke and
You
North.
know, I think Michael Penix Jr. is going to be the sleeper in this draft.
Well, that's what I thought too. Oh yeah, Daniels is a quarterback. My apologies.
Yeah, what are you thinking here?
You should have checked me on that. I was
I
thinking neighbors. So yeah, they've got Daniels going third. So that's the 4 top picks going quarterback. So check out what I said before. Scratch that. A lot of quarterbacks going early, but McCarthy at 4 is just really odd to me. And Penix to me, from what I saw of him against Texas. Now, maybe pro scouts are a little wary of banking on a kid after exploiting a Texas secondary. I don't know.
Oh, wow, DBU. I'll tell you exactly what it is with Penix. He's 30. He's had major injuries.
Yeah, probably the injuries.
He ran like a 4.37 at his pro day, so he still can pick him up and put him down.
Yeah.
But he's had injury history. He had the knee a couple of times. I think he had 2 knee injuries, and that's a tough one. The medicals are going to get him. It's not talent. He throws a great ball.
Well, and he's got 2 receivers from his collegiate days that are scheduled to be first round picks in O'Dunes and then also Polk.
Is it O'Dunes or O'Dunze?
O'Dunze, sorry. Jalen Polk. And then OU's got an offensive tackle projected late in the first round, Tyler Guyton.
Yeah, I'm sorry. He ran a 4.5. I don't know what I was thinking.
Yeah,
I think I was thinking of Daniels.
But
yeah, I had to look it up because it didn't sound right when I said it.
I knew he was not quite the speedster, but still 4.5 is pretty good speed.
Yeah, sure. I mean, and he's a big kid. He's what, 6'3", 6'4"?
Yeah. So tell me this, Jeremy, as we exit out of the NFL draft talk, and more of that will come next week as we will be just about on the precipice of it. For New England's hopes and some friends of mine who are big time Patriots fans, I just pray Jaden Daniels isn't Jamarcus Russell 2.0. I mean, he's athletic. He's got an arm, but I just pray that he doesn't go up there and make the New England situation worse.
Is the coaching situation better up there as far as developing? Because Mac Jones was good.
Mm-hmm.
When he came into New England, he was good, and it just went straight down after that.
That's funny, the whole deal on the Jamarcus Russell thing, and I know Jaden Daniels isn't going to be another Jamarcus Russell, but nobody really holds the Raiders' feet to the fire on that whole deal.
Because it's the Raiders.
Yeah. So
when's the last time the Raiders drafted a quarterback that's been worth anything?
The Carr kid.
Derek Carr. Okay, before that.
He's pretty good. I mean, he's
before that. Think of all their successes after Stabler. It's Ken Stabler. Think of all their successes after Stabler and until Carr.
Who was the USC quarterback they had after Stabler?
USC quarterback they had after Stabler?
He was a Heisman winner. Won a Super Bowl.
No, it was Jim Plunkett. They didn't draft him. He came from the Patriots.
Okay.
He was a reclamation project. Rich Gannon, who was already in the fourth quarter of his career when he went to the Raiders. They haven't. It's like Kansas City they haven't historically drafted quarterbacks well.
No, and I mean, if you have some success, that's really not held against you that much. I mean, what the Raiders played in a Super Bowl? No,
Yeah, they played in the Super Bowl with Rich Gannon. They got blown out
that's what I thought.
by Chucky and the Bucks.
Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah. So I don't know. It's just the NFL is, for one thing. I mean, we're going to see a time where these mock drafts just have nothing but offensive players straight down the board.
Well, yeah, until it turns to 7-on-7. If you want to get a feel for what the rules are going to be like this year, just watch the is it UFL?
Watch
Is
the
it
Pro
UFL
Bowl.
now? Watch the UFL this
Oh,
year
yeah.
because they're doing that weird kickoff, and why don't they just get rid of the whole thing? You score or you start the game at the 25-yard line.
You know what I thought was a weird promo this season? Fox ran a promo for their UFL coverage, and they played a clip of Scott Van Pelt in the promo where he's saying we're putting together the two best spring leagues of all time. I just thought that's really not a big plug there, bro.
Yeah, that's wow.
I tell you, a sleeper receiver that I see in this draft, and I hate to admit this, but that's Adonai Mitchell from the University of Texas at Austin.
Yeah, he's projected in the first round by a lot of these draft gurus.
Jeff has him going 28th to Buffalo.
See, not asleep. And Buffalo needs all the guys they can get.
Yeah, he'll get
sleeper.
Yeah,
yeah. And I hate to tell all our friends that are UT at Austin fans, but I don't think Worthy's going to amount to a lot in the NFL.
I don't see how he's going to be able to factor against the physical, the physicality of the coverage in the NFL. He's very slight, and unless
if he can get on a team where they move him around a lot,
yeah,
slot to slot, he's in motion a lot. Basically, he'll be running all day. He'll be okay.
Would San Fran take a risk on him in the second round?
Do they need any guys? Did they re-sign Ayuk?
Hey, you with the small business.
What's that?
I don't know. Hey, you.
Hey, you.
Yeah, maybe. I think they have other glaring needs they need to take care of.
But the thing is with Shanahan, he's a UT alum.
Well, that's what they need. They need probably a new coach or at least somebody to manage the clock for them.
All right. So mock draft out of the way. Anything else on the tap that we need to address?
I don't know. We got baseball going on. I went to bed the other night. My Cubs were up 8-1 on the Padres. And I woke up the next morning and they lost 9-8.
Oh, okay.
Woo!
I will say this, and I've got some heavy decision making upcoming, Jeremy. And guess what? I don't know if it's the anniversary, but it's a tweet that I saw of Pedro Martinez throwing Don Zimmer to the ground in 2004.
Cubs legend Don Zimmer.
Oh gosh. But anyways, I've got some decision making to upcoming on the horizon, Jeremy. I've got to figure out a way to see some baseball because YouTube TV does not really scratch me where I itch on that at all. I mean, it's basically the Fox game of the week, ESPN Sunday Night Baseball, and then whatever else.
Oh my gosh, you're living in 1987 out there
basically
in Western Oklahoma.
Yeah.
It's time to get the MLB package or something. I think they do that on YouTube, don't they?
They probably do. Is it a I mean, you're obviously in the metropolitan area of Oklahoma City. You're still on the Cox cable, right?
Oh, of course.
Yeah. So I don't know if we need to jump into Direct TV or
try to get some of that sweet Bally's action.
Some Bally's action, because right now it stands I would have to pay separately for the Bally's app.
I hate the way things are now.
It's terrible.
It's awful. Well, hey, what's going on?
Big shout out as we check out Vern Lundquist. Final Masters he'll be calling. That's some GOAT stuff right there.
That's it. Yes. I was about to comment on Vern Lundquist earlier.
Yeah. Did you hear?
Yeah,
Go ahead.
What's that? Oh, he's commenting on Max Homa growing up being a big Tiger Woods fan. I'm like, well,
yeah.
I think pretty much everybody on the course grew up being a big Tiger Woods fan.
Did you see Kevin Harlan's trending on Twitter?
Kevin Harlan?
Yeah.
No.
Kevin Harlan was I noticed this last night. He was trending on Twitter. He was calling a New Orleans game, and somebody threw a chicken wing on the on the field. Let me see if I could pull it up. I
got it.
Any copyright issues here.
Hang on.
So I'll go ahead and play it. Here is Kevin Harlan and his chicken wing commentary.
Driving into Murray, somebody's throwing something on the floor. 46 seconds to go, and a whistle blew. It's a chicken wing. Someone throw something that good out on the floor.
We don't say he's the best in the business for nothing.
He is the GOAT. And I tell you, when I worked at Right Radio, I always try to pull clips of his from the Westwood One broadcast because it was always something there to use. But the NBA Harlan in action last night. That was the Pelicans and the Kings. And so last exit, this is a true exit question, Jeremy. What are we looking at as far as these playoffs go? I mean, your crew, Oklahoma City, my crew's out. They have no possible shot. But looking at the first round playoff picture right now as it stands, it's a Warriors and Lakers play-in.
Ooh, yeah.
And the Warriors shot the lights out on them the other night, but that was, not anything that happens without Anthony Davis didn't count to the Lakers.
I want to know how the Suns have fallen out of the 6th seed. What the heck has happened over there?
Yeah, they were on a heater and then they've fallen off and just, I don't know. They did win last night, anyways, but they're 6-4 over their last 10. And you wouldn't think that would be a situation for that team, but right now the Mavs are making a run. They've won 5 straight. Maybe that has something to do with it. Your Thunder have won 3 straight. So
what's crazy is I would rather play any of the top 6 seeds in the first round of the playoffs than any of the play-in teams.
Yeah,
they're a horrible matchup with LA. Golden State, I don't ever want to see Steph Curry just because.
So by the standings, does it go 7, 10, 8, and 9?
I think so, yeah.
Well, so
whoever loses
go ahead.
Whoever loses let's see. Is it 9, 10, 7, 8? I think it's 7, 8, 9, 10. I think 7 plays 8.
Well, that's stupid.
9 plays 10. Whoever loses the 9-10 game is eliminated and plays the winner plays the loser of the 7-8. Whoever wins that game plays
seed and be out of the playoffs after one game.
Right.
Wow.
Well,
I know this isn't new. It's just it still stuns me.
I don't care for the play-in tournament.
No.
Even though Oklahoma City made it into that last year. I mean, I would be gleeful if the Lakers wouldn't make the playoffs just because it's the Lakers.
Well, and they're on a 2-game losing streak, but I mean, they're going to be in the play-in. And like I said, Golden State beat them the other night, just shot the lights out. But I don't think Golden State's a team right now that just is just super dependent on the 3 ball. But
they've won 9 of their last 10.
Yeah. So they're on a heater, 9-1, 3-game winning streak. So just, that they're catching fire at the right time. And then another team, Jeremy, that I know this can get scoffed at, but the Clippers, man. I mean, they're one of those teams that you just don't know.
Oh, I know. They could get in the playoffs and, Kawhi could be out.
Yeah.
Paul George could be pandemic P, and Russ could have his issues coming off the bench and just be an easy out. Or if all those guys are in there, they could take it. The whole thing.
Yeah. Marty Wandry says Hulu has 2 MLB channels. That might be an option. Dan Narvis says find a friend with a satellite account. MLB Network has games. Or otherwise, Bally took the plunge. MLB will drop to $75 for the rest of the season, first half of May.
So, hey, does YouTube TV not have the Major League Baseball Network?
They do, but I mean, I
pay.
just what it is. I just need to bite the bullet and get Bally's. I mean, that's Rangers games. That's where I need to be, focused.
Yeah.
Oh, speaking of, as we're wrapping up, Jeremy, go ahead with your point, but then we've got to get out of here.
Oh, I don't have a point.
Okay. All right. So next week we should be on tap to visit with John Moore of the Texas Rangers Baseball Podcast.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, John, I reached out to him. He wasn't available this week, but we'll get him on next week. Man, thanks for jumping in here with me again, Jeremy. It's always a lot of fun, and we'll post this video of us on our YouTube channel, Law Dog Sports, and then also we'll get the audio on the SoundCloud page, Law Dog Sports Podcast. So, going out, it's Masters weekend. Who's your pick?
Oh, Max Homa.
Okay.
Max Homa. He's performing well. Usually guys that play with Tiger don't perform well because they're watching Tiger.
Yeah.
He's playing really well. So I think hopefully him and Scotty Scheffler will be in the same group on Sunday.
I don't know if it's the anniversary, but it's a tweet that I saw of Pedro. All right. So production values, always great, always quality here on the broadcast. Yeah. So I'll do my best to kind of keep up, and we'll recap some of that. Also, be sure and tune in Wednesday evenings at 8:30 as I'll have the West Oak Sports Night recap and talk some sports and recap some weekly things in Western Oklahoma. And then also we want to thank Val Yoder for checking in and telling us all about the Pity the Fool Strongman competition that's going on tomorrow morning at the Agra Expo in Weatherford, Oklahoma. So if you like to see some big people throwing around big implements, that's the place to be tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. And if you want to
possibly horses.
Yeah, I was going to say, just go out there and throw an equine. Anyways, Jeremy, thanks so much, buddy. It's great to visit with you. We'll talk to you next week. All right. He's Jeremy Schroeder. I'm Chuck Ramsey, the Law Dog. This has been the Law Dog Sports Podcast, the Weekend Big Show. We'll talk to you next week.